I am going to talk to you today about confidence, creativity, and prosperity. And to me, all of these things are essentially linked. And I'm going to talk to you about this for a while, and then I'm going to open it up to Q&A. And the reason for that is I don't want to just talk to you about what I think you want to hear. Let's start with confidence. How do you guys define confidence? When you think of the word confidence, what comes up for you? You can yell some things out. Silver jumpsuit. Yes. Anything else? What else does confidence mean? Self-assurance. What else? Authenticity. Anything else? Strength. Yes. So these are all beautiful. And my definition of confidence is feeling good first and then acting. If you don't feel good about yourself, about your life, about what's going on, you're not going to have the strength or the momentum or the energy to create things that are really important to you or to really put your energy into things in a real way. And how many of you have heard of Abraham Hicks? Dude, it's totally my shit. I'm so obsessed with Abraham Hicks. I listen to Abraham Hicks every morning. And as everyone on stage this morning was talking about a sacred morning practice or a spiritual practice in the morning, that is my morning practice. I wake up, I walk my dog, and while I walk my dog, I listen to Abraham Hicks on my headphones. And then when I'm done with that, I open up the voice memos on my phone, and I record a gratitude list, and I send it to my friend in LA. And then when she wakes up, she listens to it, and she records one and sends it back to me. That is my sacred morning practice. So a lot of us have this idea that a spiritual morning practice, like, fuck, I gotta meditate, then I gotta work out, then I gotta do my green juice, I gotta pray to some angels, and I gotta ask for guidance, and blah, 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 blah. I gotta do 3 pages of free writing. No, you don't. My recommendation to you is that you work it into your existing life. I already have to walk my dog and then make my coffee and take some supplements. So I fit those things into what I'm already doing. Don't stress yourself out with all of this shit. Like, what's the point? If you wanted to be stressed out, you would go do something that's not this, right? So I do those things in the morning. I keep it really simple. And then in the afternoon, I meditate, I work out, I do the other things that are essential to my practice. But I don't try and load everything into my morning because inevitably we're going to have mornings where the kids are screaming, we wake up late, we can't find the other sock, whatever. And sometimes we feel like if we don't get everything checked off our list, then we failed at the morning and then the rest of the day is a failure too. So set yourselves up for success by making it really easy. So this idea of feeling good first is how I do my sacred morning practice. So listening to Abraham Hicks and doing a gratitude list gets me in that place where the momentum starts to really flow and I feel really good about my life. I feel really appreciative. I feel really jazzed. I feel really creative. And then I act. Then I create things. I do my writing. I come up with ideas. I do all of those things. But it all starts with feeling good. So that's a really essential piece of confidence and also of creativity, which is what every single person in here is doing for a living. You are creative for a living. So please make sure that you're really prioritizing feeling good. Because if you don't, how do you feel when you're trying to create something and you're exhausted and tapped out? Anyone want to yell it out? Shit. Yes, you feel shit. It's not going to work, right? It's not going to happen. That's absolutely true. So do yourselves a favor and front load your day with shit that really powers you up. And this shouldn't be stuff you have to tick off your to-do list, because then it's just more stuff on your to-do list. The idea with a sacred morning practice is it feels so good that you're inspired to do it tomorrow because it felt so good. It's not just another thing on your list. So the other thing about confidence is that it's about telling ourselves a better story. The reason that a lot of us feel stuck or we feel small or we feel not good enough is because we're telling ourselves bullshit every day. we had some bad experience as a teenager or a kid or in our early 20s, and that's the reason why our life sucks, or the reason why we can't make any money, or we tell ourselves we're not confident, we're not attractive, we're not charismatic, we're not fun, we're not social, we're not outgoing. I mean, the list goes on, right? And we're all just telling ourselves these things all the time. And the only way to let go of that is to start choosing different thoughts on a daily basis. Another really easy way to change your life, and I love this because it's really simple, is think, what would my ideal self do in this scenario? And then fucking do it. Pause for effect. Like, it's seriously that simple, and we make it so complicated for ourselves. We think like, I have to do this meditation retreat, or I have to see a shaman, I have to do like 25 days of ritual, and I have to this, and I can't start a project unless it's the new moon, and whatever. And all of that stuff is cool, right? It can be effective, but it's essentially just salad dressing on the spinach of life, right? The spinach is just like the work where you have to choose a new thought again and again. The salad dressing can make it more appealing, sure, it's like putting on an accessory, but it's not really the work necessarily. The work is just deciding to be different over and over and over and over again. Can I get an amen on that? Yeah, okay. The other thing that I feel really helps with confidence is just firing the people that make you feel small or want you to stay safe. Why are you laughing at that? Well, yeah, and then you're like, why does my life suck? Well, because when you tell these assholes your dreams, they're like, haha, no, it's never gonna work. You don't need those people in your life, and nobody is entitled to a slice of your life. Nobody. It doesn't matter if they're your mother or your husband. If they are not rising to the occasion, you should feel free to kick them to the curb. Seriously, you have to be relentless about this shit. You will not create anything amazing if you're surrounded by people who doubt you and shit on your dreams. It's the official word, yes. Okay. All right. So when it comes to confidence, I have some homework. Does anybody want to hear your homework? I love giving homework because I have this dream of being this like dominatrixy headmistress, and I have a cane and I strut back and forth and I make people do things. But that's not my life, so I just do it from here. Your homework is this, and I Googled this last night so I know it's possible. I want everyone in here, and this is everybody. I know you're sitting there thinking like, yeah, well, I'm not doing this. Yes, you are. Your homework is to take either a lap dancing class or a twerking class. Absolutely everybody in here. Everyone. Because when you free your mind, your body will follow, and it will make you realize that you are capable of being someone you never dreamed you could be. Seriously. I have been taking lap dance and floor work classes for 2 years, and it has changed my life. And there's something really fun about having like a random 40-year-old woman in leggings grind on you and be like, I would not normally find you attractive, but this is hot because you're doing it with passion. Seriously, that's what it's about. Like, why are we not taking more risks? Why are we not doing more shit that makes us feel uncomfortable? It's so boring to stay comfortable. Why would you want to do that? And I think you all have that urge, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Like, you're all secretly want to twerk. I feel it. I feel it coming from you. So just let yourselves do it. Okay. Creativity. Are we ready? How creative do you guys feel on a daily basis? Does it come and go? Is it always high? Is it kind of low? Where you at? Kind of low? Anybody else? Comes and goes. Why do you think it comes and goes? You can't blame the moon for everything. Personal responsibility. Fuck the moon. Anyone else? Because you're not doing what you want to do. Okay, yes. So I have this theory about people, well, women, in the spirituality and New Age communities. And my theory is this. A lot of us are afraid of our sexuality, and we're trying to kind of green juice that shit away. Have you ever noticed that at events like this, most people seem dead below the waist? Because I've noticed that. And it's kind of a bummer, because you're all really sexy. So again, why are we pretending to be something that we're not? It's safe for you to be juicy and sexy and flirt with people. And when you disown that part of yourself, like Yvette was talking about this morning, she was talking about playing music, but it also applies to your sexuality. When you disown that piece of yourself, your vagina is not the only thing that's dry. Your work is fucking dry too. Nobody is inspired by that shit. If you are life coaches, yoga teachers, yada, 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 right? Which is, how many in here identifies as either a life coach or a yoga teacher? Okay, a lot of you. If that's the realm that you're in and you're helping people become who they want to be, they want to think that you are having orgasms round the clock. It has to be something that they aspire to. So allow yourself to get turned on and put that shit in your work. I don't think anyone else here today is going to tell you that, so I thought I'd tell you. As they say on RuPaul's Drag Race, step your pussy up. Okay. All right, so I was talking earlier about your feelings, right? Make sure that you feel good and then you act. So let your feelings guide what you create. Get into that place where you feel good first, and then let that momentum carry you so that you can create whatever you really want to create. The other thing is, like, a lot of us feel like inspiration doesn't just show up, you have to work for it, blah, blah, blah. You know, I've got to sit down at this time every day and I have to force myself to write even if I don't feel it. If you have a morning practice that's consistent, you will find yourself being naturally inspired. And then just pay attention to when you feel most creative in the day. We all have a natural rhythm, a time where like our brain is on fire. Brain research says that it's usually 2 or 3 hours after you first wake up, you're sharpest. So that means you have time to wake up, do your morning practice, drink a coffee, have a shower or whatever, and then start creating. Don't waste that time of the day where you naturally know that you've got the most flowing. Use that stuff and honor your rhythms as much as you can. The other thing is that I think that creativity is the freedom to create what you want when you want. And that's not just about your work. That's about how you dress, how you design your house, what you put your kids in clothing-wise, like if you cut their sandwich into a funny shape before they go to lunch or whatever. Like, creativity is everywhere. And I think a lot of us are just trying to contain that in our work. We're so obsessed with being an entrepreneur and success and blah, 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 and the rest of our life is getting a bit boring. So allow your creativity out to play. Make it a priority in your life. Take off Wednesday afternoons and have an art date with your best friend every week. Go and see some shit, feed your mind. If all you're doing is scrolling through Instagram and looking at everybody else's like perfectly organized still life of their like yoga mat and glass bottle or whatever, you're not going to feel inspired. You're going to feel like, oh, I have to do that too. And no, you don't. And you won't get anywhere by imitating everybody else's shit. One of my favorite things to do when it comes to social media is do a mass unfollow when I start to be able to predict what someone's going to post. Because why? And the more I look at that, the more the mediocrity seeps into my own work. Like, I want to post something that you are not expecting me to post. And we all need to be thinking like that. You have to keep pushing it and having fun with it. Don't be like, oh, well, you know, everybody else posts a quote twice a week. If that doesn't turn you on, then don't fucking do it. Same goes for all social media. Like, if you don't like blogging, if you don't like Facebook, if you don't like Instagram, if you don't like Snapchat, if you don't like Twitter, don't fucking do it. Because it doesn't look good to anybody else anyway. Just do the things that you like. We have the freedom to do that. Just because somebody says you have to work on your Facebook strategy or grow your list, who fucking cares what they think? They don't know you, they don't know your business, they don't know your audience. So do what genuinely feels good to you. And the other thing is there's no process to creativity or success. There's no 3-step program. We all want to be like, okay, so I create my opt-in, and then I have my mailing list, and then I'm going to funnel them to this thing, and then it's all good. No, it's not going to work like that. You have to play around with it. There is no silver bullet. It's still the Wild West. Like, we don't know what we're doing. It is total luck of the draw right now. Luck of the draw and persistence and creativity and confidence. Okay, so my homework for creativity is I want you to create something that you really want to see in the world. And I want you to throw away the rule book. So a lot of people create online courses, and the online course consists of 3 videos to inspire you to buy. And then when you get the course, you get a huge PDF, you get 6 videos, you get 3 audios, there's a live Facebook thing, there's a fucking mentorship call, blah, 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 blah. Here's what I have discovered. Most people, when they buy those programs, don't finish them, feel like an asshole because they didn't finish them, and feel like they wasted their money, and they will never buy from you again because buying from you now feels like a failure. Keep it simple. The courses I've created over the last year were literally 1 email a day with a video or an activity in it for 2 weeks. End of story. I don't have to maintain anything. There's no Facebook group. Keep it simple. If you contain courses like that, people are more inclined to complete them, feel good, and then go and do something else. Like, what's the point of creating all this content if people aren't actually using it or feeling good about it? The whole idea is that you share with them what you know, and they use it, and they use it to make their life better. So think about, how can I make this really easy for people? Don't make it so complicated. Don't spend 6 months creating something that you don't even know if people are going to use it or not. And ask your audience what they want. They know what they want. They'll tell you. I literally posted on my Instagram like yesterday, hey, if I could teach you a mini class on anything, what would it be? I have like 100 comments of like, I wish you'd teach this, I wish you'd teach that. Some of the stuff I don't want to teach, and that's fine. But at least I know what they want from me. Don't be afraid to ask your people what they want. But at the same time, you have to give them what they never knew they wanted. So remember that you're the captain of the ship, and your vision is important, and the reason they follow you and love you is because they like your vision. So don't be afraid to be like, guess what? You thought we were going there, and now we're going here, and you're going to love it, which is also about confidence. So that was your homework. Create something that you really want to see in the world. And fuck the rules about how it's been done before. Just because Danielle Laporte does it that way, Marie Forleo does it this way, you can do it however you like. There are no rules. Prosperity. Who wants to talk about prosperity? Yes. Okay. So I just realized I didn't introduce myself, but I guess Yvette kind of did that. I started my blog in 2006 in Melbourne. Holla. Australia's always been really good to me. But I have been working on this prosperity piece for over a decade. So it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. You may have noticed that. So when you're creating things for your business, you have to play around with it and see what works for you. So a couple of years ago, I tried having like a signature program. So like a more expensive thing that I would offer every year, I did it for 2 years, and then I was like, I can't fucking do this anymore. This doesn't work for me. So everybody is different in the way that they do things. The Marie Forleo method of B-School every year, everything leads to that, everything else is just a mechanism to get you into B-School, may not work for you. And that's okay. Last year, I created lots of little products, and I maybe had like 5 little launches, and I had the best year I've ever had financially. And part of that is because I know my people, I know what they want, and I know that if I'm good to them and create new things, they'll be excited and they'll buy from me. It's not about necessarily having one program and trying to get everybody in North America to buy it, because a lot of us, as amazing as we are, may never have the appeal of Oprah, right? We may never have huge mainstream appeal. So the idea of going to an enormous audience and hoping that that will work year in, year out may not be your path. It's not for me. I know that I am an acquired taste, and that is cool. But you have to play with this and see what feels good for you. So Danielle Laporte actually sent an email out about this like 2 or 3 days ago, where she talked about how she likes to be making things. She likes to create. That's what feels really good to her. And that's what feels really good to me too. I like to have an idea and implement it as soon as I can. And because I'm my own boss, I get to do that. And that's the best gift. But I feel best when I'm in the creative mode. And you might find that too. So it may not be about putting all your energy into one project a year. It might be about creating lots of little things and seeing how that goes. The other thing is that you need to be really good to your audience. So at the beginning of this year, I launched a thing called the Unicorn Cleanse, which I called like a juice cleanse, but for your soul. And the idea is that you got an email every day for 2 weeks, and it would help you reset your attitude and your mind so you could go into the year feeling really good. So the year started, and I got sick. And I created the course, and I sent it out, but I didn't feel really good about it. And I went to a diner with a friend of mine, this guy that I had just met, who was like, "Oh, I love your stuff. I'm really excited about the Unicorn Cleanse. Can you put me in the list?" And I thought, fuck, I don't want to put you in the list because I don't feel good about this project. Like, I don't feel proud of it. I don't want that to be your introduction to what I do. So I emailed my list and I said, "Hey guys, I don't feel good about what I sent you. I'm going to redo it. If you want it, press this button and I'll put you in a new list and you'll get it for free because I think I can do better, and I'm sorry if I disappointed you." That is what it's about. If you create something and you know it's not good enough, be human enough to admit it and be humble enough to admit it, and then do your best. Because your people are your livelihood. And if they're disappointed in something that you make, then they will probably never buy from you again. And it's so hard to find those people that love you, right? It takes time to create that relationship. So you don't want to trash it because you got lazy one day, which happens to all of us. So be humble enough to apologize when you fuck it up, and then just consistently do the best that you can for them. Okay, the last thing that I wanted to say is, because I've been doing this for a decade, this is obviously not a get-rich-quick scheme, otherwise I would be like kicking it in the Bahamas all the time, and I'm not doing that all the time. But the reason I say that is that if you're only in this for the money, you will get burned out so quickly because this is a challenging career path. But if you truly love what you do, then the momentum will carry you, and you'll feel inspired by what you're making, and you'll feel jazzed almost every day. Probably not every day, because we're human, but most of the time you'll feel excited about it. So remember why you're doing this. Like, what is it about it that really excites you? What do you want to do? Do you want to help people heal? Do you want to help them change? Do you want to help them see their potential? If you can keep that in the forefront of your mind and get really excited about the creative process, then you'll do amazingly. That's all. Thank you. I lied. There's homework for that section too. The homework for that section is, I want you to ruthlessly cancel anything in your business that fills you with dread. How many of you have a piece of your business that makes you want to die slightly? I see you. I see you. I did this at the start of the year. There were 2 things that I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And it felt so good. If you wanted to hate your life, you would go back to the life that you had before, right? You'd go work for someone else and like secretly be blogging all day while they thought you were working on invoices or whatever. So have the courage to cancel the shit that you don't enjoy anymore, or if you really, really, really can't cancel it, find a way to make it fun or delegate it. Like, let's stop wasting our fucking time with shit we don't like. What's the point? I was born in Wellington, lived in New Zealand until I was 23, lived in Australia for a year and a half, and now I live in New York. Yeah. So that's, when I was a little girl, my dream was to have an accent no one could identify, and I feel like I got my wish. I don't know why I wanted that. I just really wanted it. Oh, well. But you're a pro, and you're from here. Most people are like, are you from South Africa? They have no idea. I mean, we're talking about Americans, so. They don't know. They just don't know. It's okay. She said, what inspired you to get into self-love and start blogging about it? So in my late teens and early 20s, well, in my early teens, from the age of 13, I kind of wanted to die. And then that moved into an eating disorder, which I had for like 5 years. So it was basically miserable from 13 to 23. I discovered tapping or EFT when I was 22. And I like changed my life overnight. I got rid of my eating disorder in one evening, and then started to like dismantle the layers of depression and misery that I'd been living with for a long time. And then moved to Australia, didn't have a job, and went for a job interview in a clothing store, and they were like, yeah, no. And I thought, fuck, maybe now I should really do what I want to do. And I wanted to start a magazine, but I also knew that was expensive. I had no money. So I was like, oh, I'll start a blog and I'll see how it goes. And I started writing about fashion because most people at the time, this is 2006, were writing about fashion in a really like celebrity-focused way, or they were just critiquing people's outfits, and I thought that was really shitty. So I was writing about personal style and how to really rock that and how to have fun with your style. And I started getting questions about like, how do I feel more confident? Like, how do I feel good in my clothing? And so it just transformed into radical self-love. Yeah, cool. You know what's really interesting? Right now I love making videos and recording audio, which is interesting because I'm a writer primarily, but there's something really satisfying about creating video. And I started doing weekly live streams on Instagram where I talk about law of attraction. I call them the Wonderland Sessions. And then I just save them and put them on YouTube, and it basically is content that I can share everywhere. So I'm really loving playing with new mediums. I feel like nobody reads blogs anymore. So why spend my time writing a blog when no one's reading them? So yeah, I'm making videos. Like, I feel like that's where people's attention is. It's on YouTube. They want videos, they want podcasts. And my writing will go into my next book. So I'm just filtering it into one direction, which actually makes life a lot easier rather than trying to like blog and write a book and do videos and do you know what I mean? Like, just trying to keep it simple. And I think everyone is kind of in the same boat. Like, if you're putting all your eggs in your blog basket, I don't know if you're spending your time that wisely. So you might want to try audio and video, either or. So I do it pretty much all myself. And I've been figuring out how it works for 11 years, and I don't really think about it now. I just kind of do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. I have a hot pink file of facts that I organize my life in, and I have an assistant that I delegate as much stuff to as possible. It all happens pretty naturally. Like, if I have an idea about something I want to create, I'll start making the sales page, I'll email my designer, I'll have her make some graphics, I'll create a PayPal button. It kind of just flows from there. I guess I just use like what needs to be done now. Okay, I'll do that. What needs to be done later? Okay, I'll do it later. But I have an assistant, which is useful. Oh yeah, if you don't have an assistant, you should get an assistant. I hired her probably 2 years ago, and I literally wanted to quit my business because I was getting customer service emails. People would be like, oh, I didn't get the email, like the PDF doesn't work or whatever. And it would make me feel like I was failing, even though it was just a technical issue. You know how when someone has a problem with your product, you feel like, oh my God, I'm a loser. No, you're not. It's the internet. Like, shit gets broken. So have someone else do that stuff if you can. And it made me not want to quit my business anymore. So I really recommend getting some help from someone. Even if you can only afford a couple of hours a week, it is worth the time and the money. Yeah, hire someone.
For some of us that still work for other people in the corporate environment, what kind of suggestions or recommendations do you have to bring your own creativity into a corporate setting? So still feel that you have to fit into that corporate environment but still be yourself.
I am not the person to ask about that, honey. Do you know how many jobs I got fired from? When I worked at New Zealand Post, which was my last official corporate job, can you imagine this? No, you can't. No, you can't. The company was like 20,000 people, and I was in the top 5 internet users in the company because I was on LiveJournal every day. I didn't want to work. I don't know. There are other people that can answer that question because that shit made me want to die so bad. I had to get out of there. I'm allergic. I can't. I would have rather gone home and lived with my parents than done any more of that, honestly. Sorry, I can't answer your question. It's like the only question I've ever not been able to answer. But I think that you need to Bring your creativity to your own shit as much as possible. Like, think about what you want your legacy to be, whether it's being like an awesome mother or a great painter or whatever it is that you really love, and put as much energy into that as you can. Like, don't keep building other people's dreams. Build your own. I discovered Abraham Hicks in November of last year, and it's completely changed my life. All of Abraham Hicks is law of attraction, and it's about feel good first and then act. Like, literally, that's your job. Your fucking job is to feel good. And that sounds selfish and whatever, but it's not. You can't pour from an empty cup. You've all heard that a million times. But literally, when you make it your job, everything changes. And like, if you're pissed off at your partner, then think about what you appreciate about them, and literally the energy in the room will change and they'll be nice to you again. Like, it's fucking crazy. So Abraham Hicks, yes, huge. RuPaul is my other spiritual guru. I don't know if you've ever listened to any of his interviews. He's really big on meditation. He's big on prayer. He's big on just being humble and playing with identity and ego and realizing who fucking cares? It's all an illusion. It doesn't matter. And speaking of which, Jim Carrey's most recent interviews, fuck yes. So good. Everyone's like, he's crazy. I'm like, no, he's telling you the truth and you just don't want to hear it. Those are probably my people. Louise Hay was really, really inspirational for me. I love Danielle Laporte with all my heart. I think she does amazing work, and she's a beautiful person. Those are probably my crew of people I really look to.